All right, making a video for 6E notes here real quick in the middle of my first period class. So that's cool. Um, so first thing I want to talk about is if we have a right triangle with the angles 45, 45, and 90 degrees. So if I have a right triangle where the angles are 45, 45, and 90 degrees, okay, we know what's going to happen is that is an isosceles triangle, okay, because the two angles are congruent to each other, which are going to make the two legs congruent to each other, okay? So, whatever this leg is going to be equal to that leg if the two angles are 45 degrees, okay? We also know that if we ever did tan, knowing that, if we use this angle right here and call this O and call that A, and we go to another calculator here, all right, and we type tan 45 equals 1, okay? So tan 45 equals 1. Now, what that means is coming back to here, right? So at a 45-degree angle, O divided by A equals 1. So O equals A with a 45-degree angle, okay? So with that being the case, if we have one leg that has a length of 10, the other leg will have a length of 10 if both acute angles in the right triangle are 45 degrees, okay? Now, there's a shortcut to finding the hypotenuse, okay? If you want to do trig, okay, and do sine or cosine, you could do that. If you want to do the Pythagorean theorem, you could do that, okay? But in this one, there's just a shortcut, okay? So if the angles of a right triangle are 45, 45, 90, you can get the hypotenuse by multiplying the length of the leg by the square root of 2, okay? So the hypotenuse of this triangle right here is going to be 10 times the square root of 2, okay? And if we were to do that in our calculator right there, okay, 10 square root of 2 is equal to about 14.14, okay? All right, if you want to leave your answer just as 10 root 2, that's fine. If you want to convert the answer to 14.14, that's fine, okay? Next, if we know the hypotenuse and we want to find the legs, then uh, we'll divide by 2 and then multiply that number by the square root of 2. Okay, it's the same thing as dividing by the root 2. Okay, so if we have a hypotenuse of, let's say, 30, okay, what we'll do, we'll divide, and the angles are 45 and 45, okay. To find a leg, we're going to do the opposite of that. So we're going to divide by 2 and then multiply that by the square root of 2. So it's going to end up being 15 times the square root of 2. Okay. Again, you don't have to do it this way. If you want to do sine, cosine, tangent, that's fine as well. But this is just a nice little shortcut for you if you want to do that. Okay. So coming down to these practice problems right here. All right. We'll look at these first two here. So this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. This is 45. This is 90. The angle up there is 45. Okay. So we know the legs are equal. So this leg is 6. So this leg is 6. Okay. The hypotenuse is going to be, again, follow the rule, 6 times the square root of 2. Okay. If we're looking at the second one right here, the hypotenuse is 8 root 2. Okay. The hypotenuse is 8 root 2. So to find the leg, so what we'll do is we'll do 8 root 2. Okay. We divide it by 2. Okay. And times it by the square root of 2. Okay. So what happens here is the 8 divided by 2 becomes 4. And we have times root 2 times root 2. Okay? If we go to our calculator, 4 times root 2 times root 2, 4 times root 2 times root 2, we end up with 8. Okay? Which makes sense. If the hypotenuse is 8 root 2, then the leg is going to be 8. Okay? Um, so that's the first side, 45, 45, 90 right triangles. Okay? And I want you to try that side out. Okay? And when we get to the back side, if we type sine 30 in our calculator, we're going to get our answer, which would be kind of interesting there. So I want you all to try that out. So that should tell you something about the relationship between the leg opposite the 30-degree angle and the hypotenuse, okay? And so what's going to happen is it's going to see the hypotenuse is equal to 2 times the smaller leg, or the smaller leg is going to be half the hypotenuse, okay? And so if we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle with a hypotenuse of 10, one of the legs is going to be equal to 5, okay? And then we'll do the rest of these notes in class as we go along. So if we're getting ahead of ourselves, just do the first page and then stop, and then we'll talk about the rest later on. Okay, have a good day.